Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise to the Most High Power, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Makar Kadash, Barakati Yahweh, Barakati Yahushai. I want to give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and salutation of the Arking of that's doing the work in sincerity and charity with humiliation all across the four winds. To you, I salute. To the Arking of that's pushing this truth day in and day out, week in and week out. To you, I salute. Yeah, this is the brother Yahshua Wama from the GMS Bahamas camp. Back at you with a brief spiritual hydration. Today, me and the brother Tazaya One, we are squaring off today, as we call it here. We just was going through some scriptures, and the topic of idleness came up. You see, and we were, through our conversation, being idle, and when it comes to the truth, being idle, that ain't something you want to do, because idle hands. There's a saying in the world that goes, the song that goes, "Be careful, little hands, what you do." We all know that idleness ain't nothing good as come out of being idle, because when you're being idle, that's idle as in IDLE, not IDOL. When you idle, you tend to do things you're not supposed to do. Demons will start to creep up on you. You start to stray away. Your building start to decay, in a sense. Your spirit start to decay when you be idle, when you're not occupying yourself inside these scriptures. When you're not occupying yourself in these scriptures, you leaving yourself open for things of this world to creep in. When you liken that unto when we go through our daily lives, right? Oftentimes when we just sitting down, random thoughts will just pop in your head. Oftentimes random thoughts just pop in. And if you don't rebuke those random thoughts, they will take root within you. And when those idle thoughts take root, they would start to flourish into something with, into wickedness per se. That's why when random wicked idle thoughts pop into your head, because, the flesh is wicked. The spirit and the flesh always warring. If that idle thought pop into your mind and you don't rebuke it, you don't pray to the Most High to rebuke that thought, that's going to take root inside you and slowly start to decay your spirit. That's why idleness is not something you want upon yourself. Now, I can get a few scriptures, that speaks on being idle and some of the things that come with it, right? This is 2 Thessalonians chapter 3. And you pick it up at verse 10, right? It says, "For even when we were with you, this we commanded you, that if any would not work, neither should he eat." So if you don't work, you don't eat, right? Verse 11, same thing with this truth. If you don't put in this work, if you don't go out on the highways and hedges, if you don't study, how you expect to feed your spirit? If you just being idle, your spirit starts to get hungry. And when you start to get hungry, you start to deteriorate. If you don't feed your spirit, it slowly wastes away into nothing. Verse 11, "For we hear that there are some which walk," Salakia. "For we hear that there are some which walk among you disorderly, working not at all, but are busy bodies." See that? That means they idle. Busy bodies. They can find time to do all manner of different things within the world. They can find time to party. They can find time to drink. They can find time to smoke. They can find time to do all manner of wickedness. But when it comes to this truth, they ain't got no time for it. You see, they busy bodies. They busy in the flesh. You see? We gotta be cautious, because that idle spirit is out there too, being idle, because social media have so much distractions out there, but there's so many things out there to distract you. So like, yeah, so many things out there to stray you from this truth. So many things out there can pull you away from woman, the money, your job, even your kids and family. All these things could slowly pull you away from this truth. But you have the mindset and trust in Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai to keep you rooted in this truth that you don't stray far, right? Because we all know what scripture says, he that taken his hand off the plow, they don't return again. Many men who bug out, they don't return back again. They don't return back again, and they bug out because they took their hands off the plow, because they were idle. They gave in to those idle thoughts, to those fleshly thoughts, right? Let's get the book of Timothy, right? This 1 Timothy chapter 5. We can get verse 13. It says, and with all they learn to be idle, wandering about from house to house, from doctrine to doctrine, right? When you sitting down and you ain't immersing yourself in these scriptures, you opening yourself up to be destroyed. You have some jakes out there, they watch a GMS video, then they'll watch an IUIC video, then they'll go watch a woman video, a woman who teaching, and they'll go back and watch Christianity. They jumping from house to house. Ain't no stability in that, right? And the reason why they jumping from house to house is because when they sitting down listen to one thing, they mind stray off into idle thought, and they lose track, and then they jump into something else. It says here, and with all they learn to be idle, wandering about from house to house, and not only idle, but tattlers also, and busybodies, speaking things which they ought not. That's people who into gossiping. There's plenty of times sitting down, I speaking personally for me, many times I just, while I read my scripture, and I like in a public place, even at work, you're just sitting down, right, and you're just listening, and to hear the idle thoughts and the idle talks of the people around you is be a bunch of gossiping. Yeah, you're there, you're listening, but you take it with a grain of salt. You just, and everything what it said, you could filter through the scriptures. They speaking things they ought not. They talking people business. They talking about this. They talking about that. That ain't something you're supposed to be doing. When you do things like that, you being idle. You see? So you gotta be cautious of that, man, because idle hands could cause your destruction. Idle hands. You see, there's another precept I'm gonna put out here. There's the book of Ecclesiastes, right? Ecclesiastes chapter 10, right? Ecclesiastes 10 and 18. Ecclesiastes 10 and 18. It reads, by much slothfulness. See, by much slothfulness. And slothfulness is another word for being idle. You see, by much slothfulness the building decayeth, and through idleness of the hands the house droppeth through. Gone. So if we supposed to be building this temple of David, we supposed to be rebuilding the temple, right? Rebuilding back up, the nation of Israel, right? If you slothful, you ain't pulling your weight, and if you ain't pulling your weight, the building will start to decay. You see. And when you think about that, you think the Most High can let you stop this building from being built? No. He can bug you out. He can take you out and put somebody else inside your place to finish that building. And the Most High ain't never locking, but he ain't never locking. You see? So if you ain't pulling your weight and that building started to decay, the Most High can bug you out and replace you with somebody else. And you will continue to decay. Once you outside of this truth, you will continue to decay until you are nothing left. You see? By much slothfulness the building decayed, and through idleness of the hands the house droppeth through. Yeah, man, idle hands. When you have idle hands, you ain't gonna finish nothing, boy. You see? When it comes to this truth, you can't have idle hands. You cannot have idle hands. You could rest, but be cautious as to how long you decide to take that rest, because you may rest and never get back up. You see? This is the last precept I could bring out here, Lord willing, on this particular lesson, because I don't want to make it too long. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 19, and we can get verse 15. It says, slothfulness casteth into a deep sleep, and an idle soul shall suffer hunger. That's the same thing I was saying a while ago. When you start, you could rest, but if you rest too long, you fall into a deep sleep. And that will cause your soul to suffer. When you're going through trials and tribulation, if you ain't have the truth within you, you would suffer. You would suffer because you don't have the scriptures to comfort you. You see, and because you being idle, because you being slothful, you think the Most High can come and deal with you. The Most High don't deal with slackness. You see? So Akim out there, don't be idle and give not heed to idle thoughts. And don't let them take root. If they pop up, rebuke it and uproot that. Don't let that take root within you. Lord willing, I hope you are edified. I give all praises to the Most High Power, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Makakadash, Nathan Laya, Kakami Yadai, Wabayanya. Give me wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Shalom, Akim. Shalom.